morning, everyone. I'm Kathryn Fleay, a 2021 Nuffield Scholar from York, Western Australia, as was just mentioned. I'm an Agronomy and Operations Manager for Living Farm, a private agricultural field research, development and extension organisation, which John Foss briefly spoke about yesterday. In addition to my role in agronomy and operations, I'm actively involved in recruitment and people management, with a focus on training and development of graduates and new entrants into our business. I'd like to thank CSBP for sponsoring me. CSBP is a well-known WA crop input company with a rich history in supporting rural and regional communities in Western Australia. Thank you to Nuffield Australia. Jody, your support has been excellent. Nuffield International Network, a truly amazing network. My GFP group, a diverse range of people, idea generators and thought provokers, my family and friends, and my employer Living Farm, and Richard Devlin and John Foss for your encouragement and support throughout my travels. In 2021, around 4,100 agricultural graduates were needed for agricultural and agribusiness roles in Australia. In the same year, there were only 900 agricultural graduates. Many of these roles support farmers, agribusinesses, and various agricultural supply chains. This is not a recent problem. These figures have remained at similar levels for the past decade. So why am I interested in the topic of agricultural education? I have had amazing opportunities during my time working in the WA grains industry. This is thanks to the farmers who I've worked with, being involved in small rural communities, industry leaders and researchers. In 2019, while I was working for the Mingenew Group out of this office, you can see in the top picture, that's where I was working as a CEO. Come August and September, the quiet main street starts to buzz with tourists that hunt for wildflowers. Being the only office building on the main street in a town of 300 people, it was these tourists who were knocking on my door for the latest wildflower update. In addition to quickly becoming a wildflower expert, I found myself also sharing information about grain and agricultural production in the Midwest. This led me to creating a Main Street ag display featuring crops and varieties grown by farmers in the region, functional posters on grains and ag industries in the Midwest, and the static display of food produced using the grain grown on farms in the area. Conversations with people from a non-ag background really showed me the disconnect between our urban neighbours and the farmers within our state, but it highlighted the interest and opportunities that came with sharing a story. Ensuring there is a continuing flow of graduates and an ag workforce is something I'm also really passionate about. Managing a farm, running a grower group, and my current role in the field research space has allowed me to work with staff and recruitment for the past 12 years. I'm passionate about encouraging and supporting people into the grains industry, but I believe we need to encourage diversity, new ideas, collaboration to make this happen. The below photo is of a current Living Farm graduate and I undertaking a canola establishment measurements in Western Australia earlier this year. Agricultural jobs in Australia exceed employee supply. Farmers and agribusinesses cite staffing as a major issue in their businesses. Agri-professionals are required across the whole supply chain, including inputs, research, logistics, packaging, waste and technology. There is an increasing disconnect between consumers and the understanding of the role of agriculture and where their food comes from. During my travels, I was able to see the diversity of businesses in terms of labour requirement. This can be seen here, where the physical labour in a small-scale Japanese onion production and the tech and data skill requirement to run a robotic dairy in the Netherlands. Agricultural education occurs at many levels. Primary and high school education, consumer education, post-secondary vocational and tertiary education, which is my focus, continued learning and upskilling for employees and farmers, linking other occupations and industries in agriculture. All levels of education are important. We can't have future employees in agriculture without the education at all levels. Agriculture is a constantly changing industry. Throughout my travels, these words and phrases came up regularly. These words were universal and are all linked to agriculture and food production. What this shows is the diversity of topics, areas and interests that can be fostered and created as career opportunities in agriculture and agri-food. Education providers, businesses and industry need to be keeping up to date and relevant, aligning with the career opportunities that come with the changing environmental policies and targets, new technologies, data and science. Simon Parker, lecturer at Newcastle University in the UK, describes students studying ag degrees as a Swiss Army student. The degrees are diverse, the students are encouraged to be adaptive. This allows students to link passions in certain areas and develop their opportunities. Aarhus University of Applied Sciences in Dronten, the Netherlands, which is the top photo, is situated on a 320-hectare farm, which is quite big in the Netherlands, with practical learning a key focus. Student numbers have been increasing at this university, and initiatives such as an on-farm student housing for students from a non-ag background are helping. So you can see that in the background, the triangle roof. Each year, 10 students from a non-farming background live and are responsible for the dairy, poultry and cropping part of the farm with guidance from farm managers. It takes one person to make a change. While I was in France, I met Agathe and Chloe, so on the left-hand side. Both Agathe and Chloe grew up in the city in Paris, and they had a love for biology right from a young age. They had no idea that agriculture had anything to do with biology, and it took one person to suggest, why don't you study agriculture at university? Both of them went on to study agriculture and both now teach other students the agricultural science. Internships from non-ag degrees are also really important in the UK grains industry. Eurofins, an agri-science service provider, very similar to Living Farm. I met Megan from Eurofins, and she was from a non-ag background as well, studied biology and did her internship one whole year at Eurofins. She's been there 8 years and now encourages other biology students to undertake internships at Eurofins. Harper Adams University is one of the well-known universities in the UK. Each year, students are required in their third year to undertake a sandwich year. There are universities in Australia doing this, but I particularly thought that Harper Adams did this very well. Work experience, internships, graduate and summer jobs are very important. These are some of the excellent tertiary ag education providers in Australia. However, many do not incorporate work experience into degrees. Throughout my travels, I heard of the benefits and opportunities these factors brought not only to the students, but to future employees. Management Development Services offers the food and fresh produce industry a graduate scheme in the UK, a 2-year program where students are placed in 4 6-month work placements with UK and large multinational agri-food, logistics and agricultural companies such as Syngenta, Aldi, Bayer, etc. The structured program provides students with support and allows them to see the opportunities in the workforce. The photo down below is a crop trials company based in Lethbridge, Alberta called Farming Smarter. Each year they provide 4 summer student jobs where the students are allowed to grab hold of a project and see it through, present it to their peers and then assess on it at university. During my travels, I spoke with education providers, so schools, vocational institutions and universities. I spoke with farmers, those employing staff, using ag and ag business services, students, current university students and apprentices. With a focus on attracting people from a non-ag background, many of the people I met with all wanted to know what the solution was, which wasn't very handy when I'm asking them the same question. Agri-professionals are in high demand and low supply universally. Urbanisation is exacerbating the urban-rural divide. I think that's something we always hear about, but it's definitely true. New generations require supportive environments. I believe there is a benefit with ag education providers and industry connecting with other industries as a way to attract people from non-ag backgrounds into the industry. There's a lot of industry words in there, sorry. Experiences and exposure are very important. The importance of linking ag with something familiar, such as the Beyond Biology talks by Newcastle University, where lecturers speak to biology students, and this ends up resulting in these students undertaking agricultural focused honours projects. So what have I learned? As a farmer, talk to your friends and family about what you do. Share the positive stories. Connect with local schools and universities. As a post-secondary education provider, encourage work placement. Incorporate practical experiences. Develop industry-supported scholarships. As an agribusiness, encourage young people into your business. Develop structured graduate programs and support new people starting a career in ag. As a student, engage with industry. Part-time apprenticeships are already available. Experience, build your connections and experiences. Varied experiences are extremely important. As a school, read up on what Barker College does in New South Wales. It's a fantastic program, and I think that can be replicated throughout the country. Encourage and develop links into areas of science, biology, technology and maths. Industry, invest in young people. And community, static education displays to connect consumers. Be involved in ag promotion. So what's next? This is a big topic, and I've only scratched the surface today. There are many questions that have come from my travels, and I've learnt, I'll leave you with a couple. Is there a role degree apprenticeships allowing students to get a bachelor degree while working within the industry? How do we encourage collaborations between industry, ag faculties at university and businesses with non-agricultural degrees? What can they offer to industry? What are some novel ways industry can invest in agricultural education? I'll just leave you with my final visit, which was a couple of weeks ago. I visited Suzanne Roosink in the Netherlands, and she just really highlighted the importance and what Nuffield can offer. She actually saw the Silo Art Trail when she was travelling Australia, and she has really gone about at her farm connecting the consumer with the food that they eat. So she actually brought that back to her farm and her local community, and now you'll see a Silo Art Trail in the Netherlands. I think that's something that we can all do. We can all bring something back and make that one little change. So continue to think globally and act locally within your communities. Thank you.